The Dunnigan Journals is about a man finding his own story. In this case, he's a journalist and has been excellent at telling other people's stories, but he's never actually lived an adventure of his own. And so this movie is about showing the audience what it could look like to live a story worth telling.
I think all of us feel when we're young that we're destined for all these things, but as it turns out, to be able to achieve them, we really need to take those steps forward and get out of our comfort zone. And really that's what's going on in the Dunnigan Journals.
The story of the Dunnigan Journals actually came about many years ago, where Ryan Seavey, the lead in this, and another friend of ours, we used to do these filmmaking retreats, and we would sit together and brainstorm potential movies that we would want to make.
And we were sitting around in a meeting and we were talking about ideas, and Kevin sort of started bringing this to the table of something that he had wanted to possibly do, and then we kind of expanded on it from there, and it sort of grew into potential movie, and then it just kind of stayed there. And then years and years later, I actually had the strangest thing happen. I had a dream that my friend Kevin called me after 5 years of not having any communication hardly at all, and he was saying, hey, let's work on that, let's pick it up. 1 month later, exactly after that, he called me up, he said, hey Ryan, would you want to work on Adventures of Dunnigan again? And I went, no way, yes, absolutely, let's do this.
The pre-production on this movie was quite extensive. From spending several months working on the script with some friends of mine, to casting the lead from LA and having to fly him up and coordinate with him, to filming at exotic locations.
We talked about a little bit of character development and some of the ideas that we wanted to maybe change or modify, and it came to birth, and we made the shorter version of what you guys are all seeing.
I worked with a friend of mine to create some storyboards and concept art so that people could get an idea of who this character was, what this story is rooted in, and what it's supposed to feel like, because you want it to feel good. You want people to, in one image, get what you're trying to pull off, get what you're trying to do.
We Googled and looked for what my character Quint might look like. We had several templates for what it might be, and I ended up ordering a whole bunch of stuff on Amazon, trying them out.
It's hard to make a movie with so little budget, especially when you want it to look like a high-quality feature film. There's some tricks involved in order to do that.
So Kevin calls me up, and we'd done a campaign to raise some funds, so we had some available to fly me up there, which was fantastic. And he said, so I want to put you on this airline. I'd never heard of them before, but I said, sure, go for it, you know. I'm easy, let's go. And so when I got to the airport and when I saw this plane, I thought, there's no way that that could be my plane. It looked like a puddle jumper. Like, I think there was literally 8 people on this plane, and that was at max capacity. And we flew at a maximum of 7,500 feet, and you could feel every little thing as we were going. And so I'm usually not one to get motion sickness, but it was hard not to, because the wind was pushing us, and I was going, what in the world did you put me in, Kevin, to fly me up here?
Where Kevin decided to film everything, I don't know how many miles, but I could tell you it took about an hour to get to where this was and about an hour to get back.
I loved it. It was part of the adventure, you know, hiking miles with heavy packs and poison oak and falling rocks.
There were so many challenges that we faced, but it was a lot of fun filming this movie. The actors were a delight to work with, and the people who came out and volunteered their time, it was really awesome.
I first worked with Ryan Seavey in 2000, I think, or 2001, on a film called American Grace. So I've known Ryan for a long, long time, and it was great to work with him again.
Mike was great. Noelle, I had just been able to get to know just a little bit before this, and when we worked together, I mean, it just felt like things kind of came together quickly, and they were just great actors.
In theater, you obviously have distance between you and your audience, but then you also have the lights, and you're in costume and makeup. When you're in film, you know, everything is right there, so you just have to learn to still have an accurate and realistic portrayal of what's happening while not having to over-exaggerate anything because of distance and that breach that you're trying to cross. So film was definitely a fun challenge.
One of my favorite scenes was when Mike and I we were struggling, we were fighting, and we did that scene so many times, and the thing was, it's supposed to have been shot at this point, but I actually had pain in my leg because of an injury, and so this was, you could call it great method acting, right? I didn't necessarily plan it that way, but some of the pain, that's really me healing that. And so, but it was fun to kind of choreograph those scenes. It was a little dangerous. We were up there on those cliffs. Mike's had some training, some MMA training, so he was able to bring that to the table and kind of help us choreograph a little bit better. So try to bring some more realism to it. But thankfully, at the end of the day, my character wasn't really supposed to be a great fighter by any means. So hopefully I conveyed that on the screen and I didn't put up too much of a fight.
I just wanted to do a good job with Quinn, especially because Ryan is so much physically larger than me. I wanted to look somewhat menacing against him, and I think it comes through. I think with trick camera work and me standing on tall ground whenever possible, I ended up looking like a formidable foe against Ryan, so that was very nice.
My favorite part about playing Veronica was that she was a girl and she had it all, but she was going out on an adventure and she was taking risks. And she was rough and tumble, and she was not afraid to get dirty or be brave and be a part of the climax of the story.
I enjoy working with Kevin. He's got just a unique vision for how he wants to tell a story, and I think you can see that in some of the cinematic display even of this and the colors. That's a joke we have with him, that he just really likes to spend a lot of time color correcting, so I think this one's going to look superb.
Post-production on this film was so challenging and took a long time. Sometimes it's been easier for me to work on somebody else's project than my own. In order to overcome some of those challenges, Mike Skilleter, the director of photography, he started the edit on my film and I started editing a film of his so that we could see both of our projects move forward but not have to run into some of the mental challenges of completing your own project.
I think that Dunnigan Journals could totally be made into a feature, could totally be made into a serial format where there's multiple episodes, whether that be on television or, part 1, part 2, part 3 of a trilogy. I think it would be amazing.
My hope would be that this is received well as it tours around and goes from festivals that we submit it to, and the audiences enjoy it and they have some fun with us as we take them on a little adventure. And my dream would be that this would take off from not just a short, but move into the full story and the bigger feature. And that's something that I've been working on and developing, and I would love to see that come to fruition.
This idea behind what Dunnigan's going through in the beginning of the film, and what makes him kind of take that first step, is not something that's foreign to Kevin or myself or Ryan. This idea of us wanting to work in film when we were in college and everything, it seemed like this pipe dream. Like, can we really do that? Can we really make a living and live this dream of ours? And so there's hesitation. There's a feeling of like, it's not safe. It's not safe to go out of your comfort zone, but it's a journey, and it's a transformative journey that not only Dunnigan faces, but I think we all face. And so I hope that it will resonate with people who see it just like it did with us who made it, and that they'll be inspired to do the same for whatever their dreams are in their lives.
It's not easy making a movie. I don't care if it's short or long, it doesn't matter. There's so much work and there's so much need for help in that process. And so I could have never done this without the help of Ryan and Mike and so many of the people that are a part of this movie. And so I'm so happy to see it become what it's become. It's powerful to watch an idea that was in your head or an idea that was in your heart and actually create it in such a way that somebody else gets to enjoy it. But even if very few people see this movie, I know that for myself, the cast and the crew, this was a stake in the ground to say that we're pursuing this and we're seeking after making high quality films and great stories worth telling.